Hello guys, welcome back to the final Killjoy guide on this channel. Today we're just going to be doing Icebox, so I don't think she's met her on any other map. And after this I've got a Brimstone guide coming up and a few more ranked tips, so stay tuned for that and let's get right into it. So obviously due to the new changes with the turret, only holding 120 instead of 180 degrees, I'll just be showing you a few flank spots, just to where to put your turret so it can watch all the flank. And this is why Killjoy is probably the best on Icebox, because this A site is quite tricky, but the B site is quite easy to hold with sentinels. So yeah, just for the B site, just put it up here, and this watches the cross into garage, and it watches anyone coming up from here, and it's impossible to kind of walk past without getting shot or detected. So for B, that is where you would put your turret. A is a little bit more tricky, so I'll get into a bit of a longer explanation of that, and there I'll explain why Killjoy is probably the best sort of sentinel other than Sage on this map. So yeah. So the reason why Killjoy is the best sentinel on this map is because of her turret, and I'll explain why. So let's say you're playing chamber and you have to trip the flank. If you trip here, they can just walk past and push from belt. If you trip here, they can just sneak past you. The only place you could put your trip is literally right here, kind of. But they can see this from anywhere and they can just shoot it. And with Cypher trips, you've got to put two down, and that's just a waste of util. But for your turret, you can kind of put it anywhere. So this is a turret you could do for flank. This holds a lot more control, but this is kind of a turret that you would place if you're going to fake A and maybe go B and rotate. But with this turret, obviously, people can still walk up and play in these kind of spots, so do be careful of that. But if it's a full A hit, the turret I'll recommend is just this one here. And this kind of visualizes and holds everything it needs to, and it's impossible to walk past. And it's a lot harder to instantly see and shoot, as you can see. You don't even see the full thing, you only see that. And it will spot you every time. With this turret though, you cannot walk onto bomb and plant. Not walk on site and plant, sorry. So yeah, always drop the bomb to one of your teammates. You shouldn't really be taking the bomb playing Killjoy on one of these maps. And with your alarm bot, I wouldn't bother using it because they can just walk past it. So save your alarm bot for site maybe. So yeah, that'd be how to hold flank on A. Onto some post-plant lineups and onto some execute lineups. So an execute lineup will just be kind of run onto this spot. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you're here, you want to use your crosshair and just aim it at this far corner here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, it will land good every single time, and just give it a throw and see where it lands. I mean, it speaks for itself. It plays this, it forces them to swing behind the box if they're playing behind the box, or they have to back up, in which case you can kind of see them for most like small angles. Yeah, this is, I would say you need to learn this lineup, and it's a super easy lineup to learn. Just stand on this, aim like here, and just throw it. No jump throws, no using your hard, nothing. Like, this is a super easy lineup. And if you're playing Killjoy on this map, there's no excuse of why you can't learn this lineup, because it is probably the best lineup on this map. So yeah, onto some post plants. So an easy lineup for default on A is just to walk kind of on this line and aim literally in this general area, but make sure it's to the right of this pillar so it doesn't hit anything on the way, and just throw it. And this kind of just covers everything, every possible plant it could need to cover. So if you're planted safe here, if you're planted default like here, it will cover it no matter what, as you can see. So yeah, this is a super easy lineup to learn. Doesn't take much effort. It's not that nerdy or whatever if you're concerned about that. Just aim it at this kind of ceiling and just pop it down. It's simple. On to B. So for the B lineup, just go in this doorway and kind of just aim kind of at the sky, in between I would say at the line where the green container and the grey container meet, and just run and throw it. And it will bounce off this box onto default. And it's another super easy lineup to learn. So yeah, this is why this, I mean, this is a very Killjoy friendly map. And also bear in mind as well, if you're playing KO, the KO Molly and the Killjoy Molly have the same physics, so you could kind of use the same lineups with KO Mollies that you can use with Killjoy Mollies. Just if you didn't know that, little fun fact. So yeah, onto some ult spots and onto defense. So for attack, just one up to the screen container and place your ult here like so. This will force everyone from just on site to go all the way back into CT or back all the way through tube into mid. And I would recommend making sure you clear yellow before placing the assault down, because they could just swing and just pre-fire ult and destroy it. Even if you kill him, I guess you still get the kill, but your ult's not going to have as much impact in the round. So yeah, just every time just walk up to this pink container. If you want to use this sign as a reference, you can, but I mean, you don't really need to. It basically covers everything anyway. It's not a huge difference, and just paste it down like this and it covers everything. Gives you a free sight. Onto A, and then I'll show you some setups and some retake ults. And with the AO, if you just jump on top of pipes and place it down here, it covers everything. Literally everything. Obviously, they can't stand here because the gap is too small, and the same thing with this as well. Gap is too small for them to stand in, so it forces them all the way back into their spawn, essentially, or into mid, wherever they're playing. And it's a free site every time. So yeah, that's another reason. The Killjoy ults here, they always cover everything of site, all of site. So yeah, on to some setups and some retake ults. Your race setup, they've kind of changed this a bit, so you can kind of walk here and aim in this kind of general vicinity. You can just throw a molly down onto this ledge like so, and that'll be your first swarm. And your second swarm, if you kind of just aim sort of in this corner on this blue little ledge, or ledge in between that ledge and the box, and then you would put your alarm bot just here. And these are really good to obviously have your mollies kind of in high and hidden places, because they'll be way harder to shoot, and they're harder to see as well. So yeah, and also if they're like elevated, it's harder to see the range of the molly as well, so you'll find people actually taking more damage to them. And for the turret spots, there's 2 turret spots I'd usually play it. So the first one is this one, and as you can see by sort of the ring, it kind of covers everything that it needs to cover with your setup, so this turret really complements your setup. And that's a turret I would use more often. But another turret that's really good, it's just the one on top of here, if I can get it right. And this turret is really good because this sort of happens about their crosshairs all the way up here, which means you can kind of play back sight and swing off your turret very easily. And this is where I'll kind of play off your setup more often than not anyway, because playing here is a little bit of a risk because they can kind of pinch you up from maze. But if you have someone playing close maze, you can play here if you want. Just make sure you don't peek out too wide because you are exposed from belt as well, so you probably want to be focused on just playing kind of backside. You can maybe even kind of play nest sort of like this off your turret, kind of playing a little bit more of a hidden spot. And this turret is also good because it's far back enough to where they can't actually see it from belt. Like if I'm walking up from belt, I can't see it at all. Like it's completely hidden to me. But let's say if it was right on this edge here, I'd be able to see it and shoot it all the way from back here. You know? The one drawback of this turret is it doesn't actually see you from underneath screens like this, so you can kind of just walk past it if you're pushing from this right side here. So yeah, I'd say mainly playing off this backside swivel is a good option there. If you can peek off it kind of like this. As you can see, the mollies cover quite a lot of distance, and it stops the whole push. And imagine if they're vulnerable to that as well, while trying to fight a turret. It's a very good setup. I'd say Killjoy is more played usually towards the B site and maybe mid. But that spot on A is really good. And to be honest, on pistol rounds, most people kind of go A first. You'll be surprised. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the first letter of the alphabet. I don't know. But yeah, maybe you can start by catching them off guard with a setup on A as fast as possible. So yeah, on to mid and B now. So for the first mid setup I'll show you, I'll just have your turret straight here. And this turret is extremely versatile because you can play it on B site if you want and, you know, help keep control of that. Or you can play just even on screens on A if you wanted to, and you can kind of roam freely without having to worry about the turret deactivating or anything. And for your alarm bot, you can put it somewhere around here, but bear in mind, if they have a Viper orb through this, they're basically going to have to step on top of the alarm bot for it to go off, otherwise it won't go off. And sometimes it does bug a little bit, but if they have another form of smoke, then feel free to put it down there. Or if you want, you can kind of just put it like here and hide it a little bit if you wanted to. I wouldn't really waste your mollies for a mid setup because you're not really going to be toasting them, and there's not really a place you can play from mid or peek from mid without exposing yourself to a lot of different places where you're going to be able to toast your enemies with your mollies. So with your mollies, if they're going mid, they're usually going to be going from mid to B, so I'll just save your mollies for retake, maybe throw it behind yellow around just any spot there. And yeah, onto the second one. The second mid setup, and to be honest the better mid setup, would just be putting your turret all the way on this left side here. And what this allows you to do is, if it's all the way on this right side, they can, you know, get spotted by the turret without even being fully committed. But once they're fully committed all the way up here, this turret will actually spot them right here. And the best part about this turret is since they've added a window now, it'll see them if they walk up tube. So you don't even have to worry about them lurking through here. And what you can do as well off of this turret is the moment it spots someone like here, for example, they're going to be fully committed out. So you can actually just peek and get a free kill. Similarly, if they if they get spotted window, you can easily peek window and get yourself a free kill, and it's actually quite funny because obviously the map got recently changed, so they're just not going to expect this play. But the only vulnerability this leaves, yet again, is this Viper Orb here. And what you can do when they Viper Orb, you can kind of maybe even walk into the Viper Orb and try and, you know, catch a Viper off guard, or you can shift walk up and just place your alarm bot down here, and that will stop their push instantly. So this is a really good setup to hold all of mid, because sometimes on Icebox mid can be left quite open, and you know, you can get ranked teammates constantly complaining you, telling you to hold mid. So there you go. There's no excuses now for any Killjoy mains. Simple. Onto some B setups and then onto the retake ult. So for your turret, just walk up to this white box here and turn it around by pressing right click and just post it right here. And this will watch all of B main. So this is a really good turret and that you can kind of peek off. And for the first swarm, just walk straight up to this left side of this container. And if you see this line here, line it up with this dot and just right click it. And for your alarm bot, kind of place it just here. If you want to catch your enemies off guard though, you can put it right here on the edge of this container. And this is a good alarm bot you can do. But I recommend just doing this alarm bot for now. And for the second molly, this one, if you back up a little bit, I like to kind of line this and this up just to make sure it's consistent. So do that and then kind of aim straight here and left click. And this will land on top of this box. And this will just toast the enemies. Like if they try and play on top of this container, they will get completely just shredded. And with this setup, you can kind of play whatever you want. So you can play backside here. You can kind of play here a little bit and try and like maybe they'll be forced to peek into you and you can take the fights like that because they'll be kind of aiming at your turret, so you might be able to get a free kill and they'll be taking a crazy amount of damage. So yeah, that's the first setup I would do, and this setup's a really good setup. On to the next setup. The second setup you could do is just walk up to this little hilt here, just left click it down, will land straight on top. You can do the same alarm bot, and the two possible swarms you could do is you could put it on top of this, but this does kind of leave a little gap, which I'll show you now. There's a little gap like right here, kind of, that they can kind of play in. So to stop that, you can obviously put it straight back here and kind of place it here if you want to. So yeah, that'll be the second setup, and the turret will be the same always. And I can show you one setup after this a little bit more deeper, and then I'll show you a good retake ult. So this setup you can kind of even use with a mid setup if you want to play B. So as I mentioned, this turret is quite good earlier because you can play on B side very easily. And with these mollies are actually really simple and strong to use because you see a lot of Sage players on this map kind of wall this off, either diagonally like this or horizontally across like this. So if they're about to plant, they actually can't get TM mollies if they Sage walled it off, and you can kind of just pop them at a time and waste a bit of time, and you're able to kind of play off the mollies a little bit as well, as the turret's going to be watching mid for you. And if you want a bit of extra protection, why not just put your alarm bot kind of, I would say, right here, and you can play a little bit of a deeper setup around mid. 2B. I'll still kind of count this as a B setup as obviously you're using these mollies to delay the plant on B. So yeah, if you're doing this mid setup, you can use those mollies to delay as well. So yeah. Anyway, onto a good retake ult you can use. You can kind of retake ult from wherever on this site, honestly. You can ult from here, which is a very strong ult. Ulting from anywhere deeper I wouldn't really recommend because they're most of the time going to be forced into these corners with boxes. So if you're able to ult from around here, they're not usually going to be playing in a position where you can kind of get full peek on that molly anyway, on that ult. So this ult is definitely the strongest you can do for B by far, as it covers the most. As if you see, if I'd ult a little bit deeper like this, yeah, there's tons of different spots they can hide. They can play kind of here, they can play on this elevation, they can play on this elevation, they can go all the way back to playing in this little cubby here, and they can still swing you and like play for post plant. And it doesn't even get them that deep in. Even if they can't play in those two spots, they're still kind of here and they can quickly jump up on top of this crane and swing you. So I do always recommend kind of ulting from here. If you want it a little bit deeper, you can put it a little bit deeper like this. And having it a little bit deeper forces them even further back into main. So if you want to play a little bit further forward, you can, but this ult is also really good as well because they can't possibly play in that corner, and that's what you're trying to hide from. So yeah, if you kind of just do it here, it's super strong. But if you do this ult, another thing I would say is bear in mind, anyone could kind of panic knife out, try and flank you from mid last second. So do be aware of this flank here of this ult, because obviously they can't play main, so where else are they going to try and peek you from? Yeah, bear in mind with that. So yeah, that is a good 2 retake ults for B. I recommend doing the one deeper, but if you do the one deeper, be prepared for people like running around and trying to get you from mid. So yeah, with that, that'll conclude the end of this guide. If you found it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like and subscribe. Obviously you don't have to, and let me know what you would like to see in the comments. This will be the last Killjoy guide I do for now, as Haven has been taken out of the game, and she was by far the strongest sentinel in Haven. So if/when Haven comes back, if you want me to do a Killjoy guide for that map, let me know in the description. But yeah, that'll be it. I think I've got a Brimstone guide planned soon for Bind, as that's the only map he's really meta on. So if you want to learn how to play Brim on Bind, I can do that. But anything else, just leave any suggestions down below. I've got a few new rank tips coming out as well. So yeah, see you next time, man. Peace.